Hey guys, welcome you all in T3P Technology to the Point. If you are looking for a video which can help you to pass OCI Foundation 2021 exam in very less time, then you are at the right place. In this video, I cover everything step by step, so you will learn and pass the exam with the preparation of 1 hour. So let's see what we have in this video. So guys, let's talk about the agenda for this video. What we will go through in very short. First we will go through the exam format, where I'll share the information about the queries what we always have before going through the exam, like number of questions, passing marks, how the score is calculated, type of questions we have in this exam, level of questions, how to register, and how many attempts we are having for free for this exam. Next we will talk about the exam content. In this way, I'll share the information about the areas where we need to focus much, how much weightage they carries, and then we'll see through which we can get the score easily. Also, I'll share what topics I covered when I personally gone for the exam, and that helped me to pass this exam with just 2 hours of preparation. Actually, that varies person to person how much knowledge you have in advance. Next we will talk about the actual exam pictures. That means the more focused areas from where you will see the questions in your exam, that I'll replicate with you, and will share how many questions we'll get from each area. Next we will talk about the cheat sheet, where we will go through the most common services which has been explained in 1 or 2 lines to get to know about the services. Even if you never work with OCI or Oracle Cloud or don't have any information, this content will help you. This cheat sheet I prepared to explain each and every services in 1 or 2 lines, so you will also learn together while checking the exam content. Next we have the checklist for OCI Foundation exam. Like, after going through the cheat sheet, we will go through the list of services where we need to focus too much for the exam perspective, as I don't remember each question, or I would say we are not allowed to share questions due to NDA policy, but I remember the services that can surely help you for this exam. If you will go through those services, I'm pretty much sure that you will crack this exam in a first attempt. Next we will talk about the reference material, where I'll share which content you need to go through, what it can help you, and where you will find the videos for the questions which help me to prepare for this exam. Then what is next? Then we will talk about the after passing this exam, because last time I got many queries what we should do after this exam completion. I'll share some details which exam you can go through. Next I'll share the content detail, how you can contact detail, how you can reach me in case of help needed or for any query related to any question. So without wasting time, let's go through it. In this slide we will talk about the exam format for this exam. First thing, we need to understand that this year in 2021 they have removed the proctored exam. Last year it was done through the Pearson, but now they have in-house tool to take this exam, so it is not proctored. That means no need to turn on our camera, and we can say that we don't need to be isolated. So wherever you are, you can just sit, log in, and start your exam once you are ready. Next thing, number of questions. I got 55 questions in my exam, and the passing marks is 68%. If we talk about the score, then the score is calculated out of 50. So you need to get at least 34 questions correct, or not 34 questions, I would say 34 marks you need to get it to get 68%. So all clear. Now we will talk about the type of questions. The questions can be either multi choice or multi answer. What is the difference in this? Here you need to choose only one option that is correct from the options given. In this one you need to choose multiple options, like either 2 or 3. It's based on scenario or the question, we would say. Next we will talk about the level of questions, as this question exam is for OCI foundation. That means all the questions are based on concepts which is related to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So you just need to go through the concept. No need to think much about the scenario based question. You will direct get the question based on concept. How to register? So there is the best part of this exam is there is no prior registration required. Like you don't need to schedule your exam for later point of time. Suppose you are feeling good now, you are ready for the exam, you have done the preparation, you are ready to go, and within next 1 hour you will get certified. Next thing, how many attempts we have for free? There are 3 attempts is available, so it is mentioned in the Oracle site as well. Once you will log in, you will get this detail here. So let's see what we have. Let's talk about the content part. If you have given the 2020 exam for OCI Foundation, then you observe that these are the services which I am marking here are part of that exam. So if you have done the preparation earlier, gave the exam, then this is beneficial for you. You don't need to go much into that one. So that's why for me it took around 2 hours of time. Just I gone through the concept for 2021 that is added. What are the services are there? I gone through them, and then I just gone through the practice questions for this earlier section that is for 2020. So that helped me to prepare very quickly. But don't worry if you not have gone through that one. So in this video I'll cover these all things in very short, so you will get all the understanding about the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure as well these services. So I'll cover each and every service related to this, which is very important in terms of this exam, not fully Oracle Cloud. Now in this slide we will talk about the actual exam pictures, what exactly you will get in your exam. In exam you will see such domains in your exam and the questions related to them. So in the top they mention this question belongs to this particular domain, this question belongs to this one. So this is what we are having. First we need to understand the OCI foundation, that is Oracle Cloud, normal things in general. Then we will talk about the OCI architecture. So you will understand, you should have the understanding of regions, availability domains and fault domain, that we will see in this video. Then key features and components of OCI, you will get the questions from them. Then you will see the questions related to core services, and then the new services starts from here, like OCI app dev services, OCI observability and management services like logging, monitoring and log analytics, then core solutions for OCI. Yes, here I saw 2 questions which is little bit scenario based but not fully. It's like in general, if you know the understanding of the concept, then you will be able to handle these questions. Then you will see the questions belong to OCI analytics and AI services. Then OCI hybrid offerings like VMware solutions we are having here. So you need to understand how it works and all that. I'll also explain in this video, don't worry about that part. Then you need to understand the OCI pricing model, and in the end this is the best scoring domains, what I mentioned, that where you can get the score easily. Like pricing model is to very simple in OCI, every region have same pricing. If we'll talk about the ingress or egress traffic, how the pricing is calculated. Ingress is totally free in OCI, but egress within the region it's free. But when the traffic is going outside your region, like you have one region and another region, your traffic is moving outside your region, then you need to pay for this one. But this cost is 10 times lower than other, not 10%, I'm talking about 10 times lower than the other cloud provider. Or if your traffic is moving to the internet, then also you need to pay. So these are the two scenario where you need to pay. Similarly, if you will talk about the SLA, OCI provides end-to-end SLA like on performance, on management, on availability. So you have SLA on 3D SLA, we can say, and this availability known as data plane, that is control plane, and then we have the performance. So we will talk about here also. So these are the good to go domains that within the very last time you can score easily, no need to think much about that part. So now let's talk about what we have. It's about the cheat sheets. I covered each and every domain what I mentioned in the content or actual exam. So let's see one by one. First we have OCI introduction. What we need to cover? We need to cover the OCI architecture like regions, availability domains, fault domains, how these are configured and all. Then we will go walk through little bit about the OCI cloud free tier, that is what are the services available for as a free trial, or we can say always free services. You should have the understanding. So I always recommend to go through that page once. So once you will visualize that thing, then you will keep remember during your exam. So let's see. Once if we will talk about the OCI architecture, first we will talk about the region. Let's understand what is the region. Region is a geographic location which having at least one availability domains. Normally most of the regions have 3 availability domain, but there are some regions where we have only one availability domain. So we have region, within the region we have availability domains. So we can have single AD domain region or multi-AD region. Multi-AD region means it can have more than one AD. Most of the cases we will have 3 AD within a region. So this is the thing. If we will talk about the availability domains, so these are the physical data center which are isolated with each other. When we will talk about 2 availability domain within the region, these are the physical data center and these are isolated with each other, that are fault tolerant. So in most of the cases, if one goes down, your workload will start from this one. It's like that. It's replicated between each other, or we can say these are the fault tolerant availability domains, and each AD has 3 fault domains. This is the very important part. So every AD we will talk about, we have 3 fault domains. So what exactly these fault domains are? That is fixed number of FD within an AD. So the fault domains are the logical data centers within AD to avoid single point of failure due to power failure or hardware failure. So they can ask like if you need to avoid the power failure or hardware failure within a region or availability domain or in OCI, what you will use? So we will use fault domains for this one. So within AD we have 3 FD. So this is the architecture concept of OCI. So everywhere it is simple. It can region can have 1 AD or more AD, but in 1 AD there is fixed number of FD. Those are fault domains, and these are logical data center. And to why we use it? To avoid single point of failure due to power failure or next. We have the always free services and 30 days free trial. In the 30 days free trial, you will get $300 in free credit, which you can use to test any of the services which is available in Oracle Cloud. So that is valid for 30 days. What you will get in general, like up to 8 instance across all available services and up to 5 TB of storage. Even you can this trial you can do it for databases, analytics, compute or container engine for Kubernetes. So it's good that before getting into any services you can test it here. And what are the always free services? Even after your free trial is over, you will have the access of these services free of cost, always free. So what you have, so there are many services under these like infrastructure, database, observability and management, additional service. There are many other domains you are having. You can check these all through this URL that I'll mention in the description box. Just go through it and just understand what are the services available for always free. You will definitely get questions from that because they are promoting with these things. So what you will have in terms of infrastructure, you have two AMD based compute VM with 1/8 OCPU. That is the shape size. In other cloud we known as like CPU or vCPU. Here it is OCPU, that is Oracle CPU, and 1 GB of memory each. You can have these things, and then 2 block volume storage. Total is 200 GB. 10 GB of object storage, 10 GB of archive storage. Resource manager, that is managed for Terraform, that is known as IAC, infrastructure as code. So whenever they talk about the Terraform, you need to understand that it will be enabled from the resource manager, so you need to choose that option. I always get this question is when I gone through the 2020 exam and 2021 exam, I got one question from. In databases, you will get Oracle Autonomous Transaction Processing or ADW. You can choose either one out of these two, I guess. And you can have NoSQL database with 133 million reads per month and 133 million writes per month. That is 20 GB storage per table. So you just go through these services. It will help you to understand what you are getting. You are getting the network load balance. You are getting the outbound data transfer, 10 TB per month. Then after that you need to pay for that one. So just we need to make sure. So these are the things under the free trial, or we can say always free services. Let's see what we have next. We have now we will start with the core services. First we will have the compute. In that we will talk about what is compute, instance basics, scaling, and OS management services. So this is kind of a cheat sheet. You will get everything in a one slide. So let's understand what exactly the compute is. Compute is something like where we are running our application or we are hosting our application. It can be anything like bare metal machine or virtual machine, or inside the containers we are running our application. So these type of resources comes under compute. So we use compute to provision and manage compute instances. You can launch an Oracle bare metal compute resource in minutes. Provision instances such as needed to deploy and run our application, just as like we are doing in our on-premises data center. Let's understand what is instance basis. So for any kind of host or the resource where we want to run our application, there is some configuration of that one. Like for VM, we'll talk about the size, right? How many CPU and RAM it will have. But in Oracle Cloud, we will understand that CPU in terms of Oracle CPU and RAM. So these are the compute shapes. Okay. So that we are having. So we can have shapes in for the three types of resources, like VM metal machine, virtual machine, and dedicated VM host. So here we can have our dedicated host. So on that particular host, whatever VM will be created, which will belongs to us only. So it is sometimes we need to use it for the compliance perspective, that we can't use the share model. As you know, all the cloud providers provide sharing model for running our resources. Let's understand what is scaling. Scaling can be anything, either horizontal or vertical. Let's understand first these two things. If we will talk about the horizontal scaling, like we are running our application on two hosts, we can add more resources if we see the more utilization is there, or we can remove these servers when there is decrement in the usage. So this comes under horizontal scaling, like scale in or scale out. Similarly, we can have vertical scaling, like scale up or scale down. What does that mean? Within a single machine, if we are increasing the resources, like this machine is running with 2 OCPU and 4 GB of RAM. Okay, now we want that our application is getting hang or the performance is not good. We want to increase the resources of this particular VM. Now we want to increase it to 4 OCPU and 16 GB of RAM. That means we are scaling up this machine. So this kind of, and when we decrease the resources, it will come under scale down. So this type of scaling is known as vertical scaling. What is auto scaling? When these things happen, like horizontal scaling or horizontal scaling or vertical scaling, as per demand, no need to do it manually. It's based on case to case. When the utilization is increased, automatically the threshold touch, the resources should be added on. So this type of things will comes under auto scaling. Now we will understand the OS management service what we are having. So it helps us to automated patch management, simplified package management. Also it helps to discover common vulnerabilities and exposure of lookup. Right now only this is available for Linux distribution. About this common vulnerability and expose lookup, where we can be known as CVE, common vulnerabilities and expose lookup. It is available only for Linux distribution, and but soon it will be available for other resources as well. So let's see what we have next. This is very important, that is the networking. Let's understand what is VCN. Then we will go through the VCN routing. Then we will go through the VCN security and the load balancer, what exactly we are having. We will talk about the VCN introduction. It's like VCN stands for Virtual Cloud Network. It's like a virtual version of traditional network, like we are having routers, switches, and then subnets and all. Similarly, in the cloud we are having, it's like a virtual version of a traditional network what we are having in on premises. So it includes subnets, route table. It helps us to send the traffic where it will go, and then we have the gateway that will help us to communicate between two different types of network. We will talk about the VCN routing. Routing is a process of handling traffic which need to send out to the VCN. Like we are having our instance inside a virtual network, that is here. Okay, so this is our VCN, and here we are having the instance. But how this machine will communicate, how the traffic will move out from one VCN to other VCN or from our machine to the internet, it will be defined by the route table. So how, where our traffic will move to the internet or your on-premises network as well. Like your VCN is in the cloud and you want to make connection between your own organization, that is known as on-prem data center. When we have the connectivity, then this route table comes into picture, and whenever the traffic is moving between them, it's known as a routing. Now we have the VCN security. In terms of networking security, we have two components. One is security list and another is network security groups. What are the security list? Which defines a set of security rules to all virtual NIC cards in an entire subnet. So it is associated with the subnet level. Okay, and it's all the VCNs, VNIC, virtual NIC comes under this. This will be implemented to all. If we will talk about the network security group, it's defines set of security rules to a group of VNICs of our choice. So we can define it on which virtual NIC it need to be implemented or not. So that comes under network security group. Next we have load balancer. What exactly it is? It's to distribute traffic to the backend server. It can be anything like, not anything. There are two types of load balancer. One is layer 7 load balancer. That is, if you know the OSI model from physical layer to the application layer, so to the presentation layer and 7 layer. So this is known as layer 7 load balancer, also known as application load balancer. That understand only the HTTP and HTTPS traffic, or in other way we can say the web traffic. And then we can also have layer 4 load balancer, that is known as network load balancer, which understand TCP UDP traffic that is between the devices. So the network load balancer is faster than the application load balancer because it has low latency and which can be used for performance sensitive applications. So we can have two types of load balancer: layer 7, layer 4, application load balancer, network load balancer. Network load balancer is faster than network layer 4 load balancer. So this is what we need to understand in the networking section. Let's see what is the VCN connectivity. Let's understand how these are connected. So there is one important component, that is dynamic routing gateway or routing gateway, whatever you say. In short, we known as DRG. DRG is used whenever we need to communicate through the site-to-site VPN or the fast connect. So we can have two types of connection between your Oracle Cloud infrastructure and our organization, that is on-premises network. Okay, so one is internet-based connection, that is VPN connection. It is software-based also. For this also we require dynamic routing gateway, or if you want a dedicated connection like a physical connection between Oracle Cloud and your organization, that is done through the fast connect devices, and this is known as dedicated connection. So for these two we use dynamic routing gateway. Now we have three different other types of gateway as well. Internet gateway, when we need to communicate, like our instance need to communicate through the internet bidirectionally, means traffic will go and come like this way. We will use internet gateway. If our device, in that case our instance should be part of public subnet. Next thing, if our instance need to just get the updates from the internet but our traffic will not go out, that means our connections will be one directional. In that case we will use NAT gateway. It normally used for patching or getting updates from the internet, and in this case our instance will be in private subnet. That need to understand. Whenever our instance that is in private subnet need to use object storage or other Oracle services, in that case we will use service gateway. So we need to understand where we need to use these gateway. Dynamic routing gateway is required for site-to-site VPN connection or fast connect. Here on-prem can be other VCN also, or connection between two VCN. In that case also we require DRG. If we will talk about bidirectional communication between the internet and your OCI infrastructure, then it is internet gateway. If single site communication, we require NAT gateway. If we need to use it for to accessing some public services which is available, then we will use service gateway. The best example for this one is OCI, object storage. So these are the things we need to understand in terms of VCN connectivity. Let's see, next we have storage. Here we will go through the storage introduction, that means how many types of storage we are having in OCI. Then we will go through these all storage, and in terms of this diagram, object storage, block volume and file storage are the important one, and then we have the migration services. So let's understand one by one. Storage, if we will talk about, we have four kind of storage, like local NVMe, block volume, file storage and object storage. Let's understand quickly. It's kind of a SSD for our VM which is attached and too much fast. For performance sensitive application we will use this one. Then we have the block volume like our hard disk HDD. This is file storage like a file share we can say. And object storage have different tiers like standard, infrequent or archive tier, and it will be used for backup purpose or the other purpose where we want to store our data any type of data like video, audio, text, any kind of data can be stored in object storage. So we have four kind of storage here. We'll talk about the object storage. It's internet scale high performance storage platform, ideal for unstructured data like image, text, videos. Any kind of data can be stored in object. Block volumes are persistent disks that can be attached to the computer instance. So it's like a hard disk. If we will store our data here, if we will delete our instances, still our data is safe. But in this case, local NVMe, our data will be erased. File storage is hierarchical collection of documents organized into name directory. Like we have the file saver like directory based, right? Root, then we have some folder like directory, then we have some folder like OCI, then the service. Kind of this is the path for the file saver we use it, right? Similarly, it has hierarchical collection of documents. We will talk about the migration services. That means when we move the data from our organization to OCI, what are the things we can use? So we can use three types of devices. First is transfer disk. It's like a disk where you can keep upload the data and send it to Oracle. They will upload the data in Oracle Cloud. Then we have data transfer appliance. For huge data we use these devices. These are the big devices. Then we have the storage gateway that we use to store our backup to the OCI. It is internet based, so software based we can say. So we can have three types of devices, or we can say we have three ways to upload our data to the Oracle Cloud. If we'll talk about the object storage tiers, that is the important. We have three tiers available in object storage. It can be used as per needs. So standard storage, it is fast, immediate and frequent access. Just understand this term. Whenever we need to access the data frequently, then we will use storage. Next we have infrequent access, ideal for data that you access infrequently. The retention time is 31 days. So minimum we need to keep the data for 31 days. Here it's little less cost than the storage standard one, and we need to pay for the retrieval fees. So this one known as a hot tier, then it is known as a cool tier. It is cold, that is used for backup or archive data where we don't require data access frequently, like it can take much time. Minimum retention period is 90 days for archive storage, and restore time is 1 hour and download time is 24 hours. So we can get data from this storage after 24 hours. So archive buckets can't be upgraded. So these are the tiers available for object storage. You need to understand when we need to use which one you need to use. So for your quick reference, whenever we talk about the way we need to store data which is not required very frequently, then we will use archive tier, and it is very cost effective. That is very less cost we need to pay for this one. When we require frequent access, then we use standard. Infrequent access, it's based on the scenario. When we are moving left to right, cost will be lower. When we will move from right to left, cost will be higher for the object storage. So this is what we are having in object storage tiering. Next we have the tiering in block volume. It's like IOPS per GB. So there are 4 tiers in this one: basic, balanced, higher performance, ultra higher. When they will talk about 90 plus IOPS per GB, then you need to choose ultra higher performance tier. If they will talk about 75 IOPS per GB, then you need to go for this one. When up to 60 IOPS, you need to go for balanced. For 2 IOPS, you need to go for. Similarly, when you will go from left to right, the cost will be higher. Cost is higher here. Here cost is lower. So there is auto tune performance feature available. We can use that one as well. So this is what we had in object storage or other storage thing. Now we will talk about the databases what we are having. We'll quickly go through the database introduction, autonomous DB, DB system, MySQL and NoSQL. So if we'll talk about the autonomous DB or OCI, autonomous DB is a fully managed pre-configured database environment with three workload types available: autonomous transaction processing, autonomous data warehousing, autonomous JSON database. In 2020 I did not heard this feature like JSON database, but in this one we are having. So when just to understand, when we need to talk about the data which is video streaming or transaction data, we will use ATP for that one, autonomous transaction processing data. When we will talk about the data warehousing, ADW we will use. JSON database is used related to the JSON data. Let's understand DB system. What exactly are these? DB systems are bare metal servers with local NVMe flash storage. You launch a DB system the same way you do a bare metal instance. You just need to add some additional configuration parameter. We can use our existing tools like recovery manager, the database CLI to manage our databases in the cloud, the same way we are using our on-prem. So this is the database systems where our database is hosted. Let's understand what is MySQL. MySQL database is fully managed OCI service which is developed, managed and supported by MySQL team in Oracle. If we'll talk about NoSQL, that is NoSQL database is cloud service, is fully managed database cloud service that is designed to handle large amount of data at high velocity. So just we need to understand this feature. You mostly get questions from the autonomous DB, so just go through that one little bit more. Let's understand the autonomous DB in a little bit detail because it is very important. As I mentioned, we do not need to configure and manage any hardware or install any software because it is fully managed service. After provisioning, we can scale number of CPU cores or the storage capacity of the database at any time without impacting availability or the performance. So while the instance is running, we can increase this number of CPU cores and the storage capacity of the database while it is running. So it is known as online resizing available for this service. Autonomous DB handles creating the database as well as the following maintenance tasks. So it's auto administrative features also available with autonomous DB, like backing up the database, patching the database, upgrading the database, tuning the database. That is means no administration required for this autonomous DB. So what are the three types we are having? If we will talk about autonomous transaction processing, built for transactional workloads, offer high concurrency for short running over large volume of data. We will talk about ADW, autonomous data warehousing, built for decision support and data warehouse workloads, offer fast queries over large volume of data. We will talk about autonomous JSON database, which is built for JSON centric application development, offer developer friendly document APIs and native JSON storage. So these are just, you need to understand what are these and how it works, what are the features it provide, like non-administrative, it provide online resizing. That means we can increase the number of CPU cores and storage capacity, and there is nothing to configure and manage any hardware or install any software for this service. So it is fully managed service. So let's see, now we will see the IAM services what we are having. We will see the introduction of this one, what is auth end and auth jet, and then we will see the important concept or the service we will see, that is compartments. We will talk about the IAM, that is identity and access management service, which also used for fine grained access control. So we can provide access to the lower level, that is fine grained access control. Authn stands for authentication, that checks who are you. If we will talk about object, that is for authorization, which checks what permission you have. If we will talk about the policy syntax, that is important. We need to understand there is only allow group, not deny group or something like allow user. Nothing is there. Just we need to keep in mind allow group. The policy syntax starts with allow group. Then we need to provide the group name, to verb, resource type, and location where the condition is there. So how the policy is implemented or the permission is given to any resource within OCI. See, we keep the this is logical compartment, okay, logical grouping of the resources of same kind of resources. Like you are having admin department, okay, you want to keep the resources related to admin department in a one compartment. So it's like logical identical resources for same kind of groups. We will keep the resources into the compartment. Now the how the permission is given, we will group the users, we will add the users in a group, then we will define the permission in a policy that has that need to be attached to the group, and that policy will assign to that compartment, or we will say we will assign or attach this policy to the compartment. So these users will have access to these resources like this way. First user will be part of group and the permission is defined in the policy. We assign those policies to the group and we will attach those policies to the compartment. Then these users will have the permission to these resources and they can access these resources. Now we will see the important service, that is compartment. What exactly it is? It's a collection of related resources. I got the questions related to the features of compartment, so just keep in mind collection of related resources. As I mentioned, for any department, for office wise or department wise, floor wise, you can define the resources and assign them into a compartment used for isolation and control access. Tenancy root compartment can hold all the cloud resources. We always have one root compartment. Property, each resource belongs to single compartment only. One resource can be belongs to only single compartment. Resources can interact with each other within different compartment. Suppose you have the resources for HR department here, you have another resources for admin department here, but the resources between these two compartments can interact with each other, and also we can move the resources from one compartment to other compartment. So this is the feature. But one resource, or we can say each resource belong to only single compartment. We can say okay, this is the resource, this VM should be part of this compartment and this both can't be done, only one at a time. And here is the structure, how the permission is given. So this is how the compartment is. This is the features available, or we can say the properties of compartment. Now let's see the new survey. Now we will see the security services. We will understand the introduction of security, what exactly related to the Oracle Cloud. Then we will see the Cloud Guard, Security Zone and Security Advisor, what exactly it is doing, scanning, then Vault, and then we have in the last Web Application Firewall. So all the services which help to improve the security of your Oracle Cloud comes under security services. So first we have the Oracle Cloud Guard. What exactly it is Cloud Guard? It helps customer achieve and sustain a strong security posture on OCI. Also it helps to monitor OCI, identifies problems and helps to fix those problems as well. Not only it monitors the OCI but also identifies the problem and fix those problems. If we will talk about the security zone, like in general, like we have multiple subnets, right? We always want in our environment database server should get the IP from the subnet which belongs to the database. Similarly, if any server belongs to production, those should get the IP from the production subnet. How it is defined? So there is a concept comes under security zone. This is kind of a group of subnet which belongs to the related principles. So let's understand how it is. Security zones lets you confident that your resource comply with Oracle security principles. If any resource operation violates the security zone policy, then the operation is denied. That means if you plan to give a IP of a database security zone to other server, it will not work in that way. So the thing is, if you assign that VM to be a part of database security zone, automatically it will receive the IP from that particular subnet which is belongs to database only. Similarly, we can define this security zone, and your security advisor or security consultant in your organization can define the connectivity between those security zones. So it will help us in many ways when you implement any project. Next we have security advisor. Security advisor helps to improve security for object storage buckets, file storage, block volumes, VM instances by security boot volume. So it helps to improve security in many ways, like the component it is mentioned, it helps to improve security for these kind of all the storage are mentioned here, and also for the VM. If we will talk about the scanning, it checks the routing and reports risk levels. What are the risks having with that particular route and all. If we will talk about the vault, that is like a key vault. So OCI Vault is managed service that lets you centrally manage encryption keys and secret credentials. It removes the need to store encryption keys and secrets in configuration file or in a code. Earlier we used to keep our encryption keys or the credentials within the code or the code file. So to sometimes what happens, if hackers or the unauthorized person have the access to that data, can easily access your password and the security keys. But now with the help of OCI Vault, you can manage these key encryption keys and security credential, or we can say secret credential, at a central place. Next we have WAF, that is Web Application Firewall. As the name is mentioned, it helps to restrict or the what we can say, it helps to support 250 plus rules to protect against SQL injection, cross-site scripting, HTML injection, etc. So we need to understand, I got a question related to it, that how WAF helps. So it helps in SQL injection, cross-site scripting, HTML injection. WAF is a web application firewall. It's related to the web traffic. So it helps unauthorized web traffic. Now BASEN. That OCI BASEN is a provide restricted and time limited access to target resources that don't have public endpoints. Also it removes the need to create your own BASEN. Okay, so what is the service? Sometimes what happens, we require just in time access which is available in Azure, or we can say on demand access to any machine you need to have access. Okay, so for that one we can use OCI BASEN service to get access to securely to the remote machines. So this is what Azure OCI BASEN services have. Next we have application development services. So what are those, and let's see these services. As I mentioned, AppDev is application developer services. So there are 5 services under this application development services. First is resource manager. It automates the process of provisioning our OCI resources and helps to install, configure and manage resources through the infrastructure as code model, that is also known as Terraform. Terraform is a technology which helps to automate the process of provisioning. Next we have function, that is serverless service. The function service is a serverless platform that enables you to create, run and scale business logics without managing any infrastructure. So we no need to worry about the underlying infrastructure. Whenever you see this term, you no need to which service supports the, where you no need to worry about the underlying hardware, that is function, Oracle function. Next service we have OKE, that is Kubernetes service for Oracle, or container engine for Kubernetes, whatever you say. Container engine for Kubernetes helps you define and create Kubernetes cluster to enable the deployment, scaling and management of containerized applications. Whenever you see containerized application in the question, directly you need to think about the Kubernetes, that is our OKE, container engine for Kubernetes. Next we have OCIR, that is Oracle Cloud Registry, OCI for instance. Next we have OCIR, that is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Registry, that is known as a container registry, where we keep, store our image files, or we can say the Docker images, which help to run the application inside the container. So container registry helps you store, share and manage development artifacts like Docker image in an Oracle managed registry. It can either be public or private, but not both. So I got a question related to this one. So just keep in mind, it can be public or private, but not the both. Next we have API gateway. API gateway enables you to create, govern HTTPS traffic or interfaces for other services, include Oracle function, container engine for Kubernetes, container registry. API gateway also provide policy enforcement such as authentication and rate limiting to HTTPS endpoints. Like API gateways, whenever we use any service or application nowadays, you see that you can provide your Google account and you can have the access to that particular application or portal. How it works? It uses the API of Google account. That is the same thing, it's working here. Next service we have observability and management. Observability and management introduction we will see. Then we will see all the three services, that is monitoring, logging and logging analytics. So if we will talk about the monitoring, what exactly it is. Monitoring service enables to perform active and passive monitoring of cloud resources. What are those cloud resources? Are compute or autonomous DB. Using what the monitoring is using, that is metric and alarm feature. Metrics and alarms helps monitor the health, capacity and performance of our cloud resources. So I got a question like, what are the parameters or features used by monitoring? So it's like metric and alarm. Next service we have logging. What is logging? It is a centralized log management service. It is rule based actions and built on open standards. So we need to understand, whenever we use the term like centralized log management and all, we use logging service there. Next we have logging analytics. Provide single view. It provides single view where we can see the logs related to different platform like multi-cloud, on-premises, on-cloud. So whatever services logs we can see in a single view here in the log analytics service. Next we will talk about the analytics and AI. That is, first we will go through the introduction, then we will go through the 4 services which is part of analytics and AI. First service we have data integration. It is Oracle managed service. It is cloud native and it is ETL service, that is extract, transform and load. Whenever you see ETL services related service, that is data integration. Next we have data flow. OCI data flow allow us to run our own Spark script in a serverless manner. It supports Java, Scala or Python. You need to understand this thing, and whenever Apache Spark or own Spark script, that belongs to data flow. Next we have data catalog. Whenever you see the term harvesting of metadata, that is the useful term I'm telling you to keep remember which service it belongs to. So data catalog is a collaborative metadata management solution that lets you be more insightful about the data you have in Oracle Cloud and beyond. Insightful about the data is metadata. Okay. What is data science? Data science is a platform for data scientists to build, train and manage machine learning model on OCI using Python and open source machine learning library. So now you got it. What is the difference between all four? Whenever you see ETL, that is extract, transform and load. Then you see data integration. When you see Apache Spark or something, that is data flow. Data catalog is harvesting of data metadata. Data science is a platform for data scientists to build, train and manage machine learning models. Hey guys, now we will talk about the hybrid services. What exactly are those? Then we will go through the introduction, then the services which is part of this domain. First we will go through the dedicated region, what exactly it is. Then we will go through the Oracle Cloud VMware solution. So hybrid services are those which is where two types of environment is involved. Like one is cloud, which can be anything like our here we have Oracle Cloud infrastructure, and then we have shared services between on-prem environment, or it can be other environment as well. So it's like hybrid services where public or private cloud can be involved. So these are the hybrid services. So first service we have dedicated region. What it is installed and operated at customer side by OCI. So what Oracle will do, Oracle will come to your organization and will install each and every services which is required to you. The best benefit here you will get it, you will get all the SLA which is provided by Oracle Cloud and all the services which is provided by Oracle Cloud. But here it's within your organization, so you have much control on it, and you have the assurance that you are fully compliant with the security aspect and other aspects. So this is the dedicated region. They have introduced this feature under the hybrid services. Next service we have Oracle Cloud VMware solution. What exactly it is? Use the VMware solutions to create and manage VMware enabled software defined data centers in Oracle Cloud infrastructure. That means you can use the VMware solution in OCI as well, where you can host your VMware workloads. But the best advantage here, you will, even it is in the cloud, but you will have root level access on your VMware solution. So you will not feel any difference that it is hosted in your organization or on the cloud. Next service we have roving edge devices. What are those devices? These are installed on your organization, inside your organization, and it collects data from there, from your organization, and it will be replicated to OCI, so you can have a view. So these devices are used for this one. I did not see any question related to it, but just understand this thing. So this is about the hybrid services. Let's see what we have next. Now we will talk about the governance and administration services. Here we will talk about the pricing model, how many models we are having. Then we will talk about the services which is part of cost management. Then we will talk about the tagging service. So if we will talk about the pricing model, we have 4 models: pay as you go, annual universal credits, bring your own license, that is also known as BYOL, and last one we have monthly flex. So these are the pricing model. I got this question related to it. Then we will talk about the cost management services. Here comes like OCI budget service is there, where we can set up the threshold for our services. Then we have the usage report which we can monitor, and we can understand where our consumption is high or lower. We can modify that as per our need. And then we have the compartment quota, where we can set a quota for our compartment how much it should spend. Next we have the tagging service. It is like there are two types of tags available in OCI. One is administrator managed, that is defined tags, and then we have free form tags, which is applied by user. Whenever you create any resource in OCI, you need to provide one tag to identify that resource, that which tag it should belongs to. So it will be easy to manage the cost. Well, you wanted to check, okay, this type of resources, how much cost is going to spend. So it can be used for this thing. So sorry, I did not change here. It should be comes under governance and administration. Next we have SLA and support. Let's see what we have inside the SLA. As I mentioned, Oracle Cloud provides three-dimensional SLA that is based on data plane, control plane, and performance. Data plane is known as availability, which is based on the commitment provided on the services are in operation with uptime and connectivity. If we will talk about the control plane, which is also known as manageability, ability to manage, monitor, and modify OCI resources. And then we have the performance based SLA, which is service where they define the commitment on the services consistently perform as expected. So the Oracle is the only vendor in the cloud provider which provide end-to-end SLA, which covers availability, manageability, and performance. If we will talk about the support part, we have the support center available for OCI. We can open a support request where they can handle the technical issues, billing related issue, or limit increment if you need for your quota or your tenancy. So this is kind of request we can handle through the support. Now we will talk about the very important content of this video, that is exam checklist, and just go through these services because these are the services from where I got the questions. So I covered each and every services here. So let's see. I got one question from OCI free tier service. That's why I mentioned that just go through that free services available. So you will get one question out of this, that is for sure. Then I got one question from marketplace, from where you can get the services which belongs to third party, and you can use those services along with your OCI services. So these services can be found under marketplace. Then I got a question related to OCI region, availability domain, and fault domains related, where you can be asked anything like how many fault domains we have in availability domain, or anything related to this, which we already discussed. Just to understand the concept related to this. Then I got a question related to data transfer cost. So we need to understand what is ingress cost, egress cost. Ingress is totally free. For egress cost, we have some limitation, like whenever our traffic will go from our VCN to internet or other region, then it will be costly. We need to pay the cost, and there is certain limit is free out of that. I think that is 10 TB we are getting free. After that we need to pay. So we just need to pay for, and this cost is 10 times lower than the other cloud provider. Then there is a question related to 2-node Oracle Real Application Cluster DB system, which is used for fault tolerance, and our DB is safe if there is any outage. So we use this feature for that one. High availability consideration for region with just one AD. When we have only one AD within the region, still we can provide the fault tolerance, or we can say the high availability, where how we need to configure the application within different fault domains. If we will talk about the instance basic, we need to understand the compute shape, where we need to define that how much OCPU we require, how much RAM we require, and we have three types of host where we can have the compute shape, that is for virtual machine, bare metals, and VM dedicated VMware host. Dedicated VM host, where we can have our only VMs. There it is not shared with the others, so we can get the dedicated host. For that also we have the shapes available. Then we need to understand the service to use and containerized application, that is Kubernetes, or in terms of Oracle Cloud, that is OKE. Then we need to understand what type of load balancer is available. One is application load balancer and network load balancer. As I mentioned, network load balancer is faster than the application load balancer. VCR routing, we have already seen how the cost is involved, that we need to understand, and the route table is defined where our traffic will move, so it will be used by route table. Then we will understand the VCN peering. Whenever our peering is between two regions, two VCN within the same region, then it is a local peering. If it is within the two different region, then it is remote peering. So whatever connection we are having with OCI and our organization, that is remote peering. So we use DRG for that one. VCN security, that is virtual firewall. How it is implemented? Virtual firewall is nothing like a security list and network security group. These are the two features provided by OCI to act as a virtual firewall. Type of storage, we have already seen. We have 4 types of storage: object, file share, file storage, block volume, and local NVMe. Then we need to understand their uses, when we use which storage, which I already defined. Then we need to go through the object storage and its tier. We have already seen this thing: frequent access, infrequent access, and archive tier we are having. We have 3 tier. Block volume, we have 4, like basic, balanced, higher performance, and ultra higher. Whenever they ask that you require 100 IOPS per GB or something like that, then we use ultra higher performance. So it means whenever they ask plus 90 IOPS, then we will use this one. It is for higher one is for 75, balance is for 60 IOPS. So this is the thing you need to remember. Also you need to understand the retention rule for object storage tier. We have 90 days for archive tier, 31 days for infrequent access tier. If we will talk about autonomous DB, we need to much focus on the ADW and ATP when we use these DB systems. Then DB system, we will need to DB systems are those where we host our database. Then we need to understand the compartment or the logical unit where we keep the related resources. Like we can divide our organization within different departments, so we can have the separate compartment for each department, so it will be easy for us to give access, to manage the cost, so many things it will is useful. Then we will understand the cost management within the OCI tenancy, that we have already seen. We have 3 services available: OCI budget, usage report, and compartment quota for them. How to apply IAM policy, that we already seen. We can apply policy while attaching the policy with the compartment where we have the resources, and there is syntax for the policy. It is start with the allow groups, that we need to remember. We will talk about the IAM service component. So users groups, dynamic groups, compartment, policy, these are the components of IAM services. Type of encryption keys that are recognized by OCI, the vault service, that is master encryption key and data encryption key. Vulnerabilities scanning, if we will talk about, it will help us to scan our OCI environment, and it will help us where we have the loophole. So on the basis of that, we can fix that issue. Then we have key encryption algorithm supported by OCI Vault. Just to keep remember, like RSA and other services, other algorithm we are having. So you need to keep remember that thing, that you will get it in a study guide that I'll share with you, where you will get the study guide for this exam. Services can be integrated with the OCI key management, that we need to understand. And then we need to go through the WAF, that is web application firewall, that is related to the web traffic, and it helps to from the attacks like SQL injection and other kind of attack we are having on the like cross scripting. So these are the web based traffic. Okay, Basin services provide securely and time limited access. So whenever we require access securely to the remote machine, we use Basin service. In Azure we have Azure Basin. Here we have the Oracle Basin. Terraform infrastructure as a code. Whenever we need to provision our infrastructure automatically, we use this service, and it can be configured from the resource manager. Service is used for deploying microservices, that is our Kubernetes or OKE. Then we have service which allow code without provisioning any underlying infrastructure, that is Oracle Function. OCIR is a container registry. It can be public or private, but not both. Monitoring is the service which monitor our whole environment and will tell where we can improve that thing, or if there is an issue, we get the alert on the basis of metrics and alarms. So we need to keep remember for this thing, metrics and alarms for monitoring. Logging is the centralized logs. We can get the logs related to each services centrally. With this service, logging analytics is provide a single view of the logs from any environment you are having, like on-prem or cloud or multi-cloud. You get a single view of all logs into this through this service. Whenever we talk about the ETL workload, then we have data integration service. If we will talk about Apache Spark, then we have data flow service. If we will talk about harvesting of technical data or metadata, we will use data catalog service. If we will talk about the SLA, we have three-dimensional SLA: performance, availability and management, or we can say data plane, control plane and performance. Support, yes, we have the support for the technical issue, billing issue or limit increment, but we don't have any much support on the free services. So we just need to keep remembering. So these are the services you need to go through for this exam. Once you will go through, I am pretty much sure that you will pass this exam 100% within first attempt. So now we will talk about the reference material. As you know, Oracle is providing very fantastic training for this one. You will, whenever you log in, you will have the video training for this one. But what is the important things? As video training takes much time, so we have the student guide. You will get into this tab where just beside this one, and you will have this one. Once you will open it, it's a kind of ebook where you have pictorial information of each and every services. Whatever I mentioned in the exam checklist, you will get there easily. Next, you need some practice questions from the services which is part of 2020. You will get edges question from there, and as I mentioned, 60 to 70% content is still same, so it is still valid. So you can go through my channel. Inside channel there is playlist for OCI Foundation Associate 2020. Just go through those two videos which is last cover. You will get those questions easily in your exam. So this is the reference material you are having. How you can reach me? You can reach me for any query related to any question or need any help for future cloud certification. You can drop me an email. I'll try my best to help you. Also, you can get the free resources from my Telegram channel. I just created it and uploaded content there, and I'm uploading there the cheat sheet for each and every exam and the dumps file, so you have the documented content. As I receive many emails to share the files, but I don't share the files over the emails or the public domain like YouTube, so I use this channel for this purpose. Just go and join this channel. You will get the content there directly, and also you will get the notification whenever I create new video. This is the Telegram group where you can communicate and help others as well. Whenever you have any query related to any question, you can post it there. There is like-minded people like me and others like you who really want to help others with your knowledge and information what you are having. You can get the support there easily. So these are the newly created channels or the platforms where we can connect together. And the last thing, what you should do after passing this exam. So if you are planning to your career in architect field, then you should go with the architect associate exam. The code for that exam 1Z10107221, and we have the content available for 1072 20 that will help you to prepare for this exam. The only thing, the newly added services are not completed, but this content is very much useful for learning purpose. If you are belongs to operations, like where you are involving in administrator job or day-to-day activity, then you should go for 1Z01067121. And you can reach me for the content for 2020. Right now I am having that thing, but it will help you for this one, because only the 30% I can say the newly content will be available for each exam. So still we are good with the 60 to 70%, and if we will read that content, that will be enough to pass this all exam. So this is how we work together, we can learn together, we can grow together. So I hope you like this video and the content of this video. I'm not feeling well from so many days, that's why it took me so much time. Thanks for watching, see you next video.